Welcome to Aboriginal Powwow, the Indigenous Paradigm Shift event taking place in Dallas, Texas. An event that'll allow you to meet your roots and your own self. And once you know who you are, there's no turning back. Being connected to your true identity and the roots that make you who you are is a powerful yet beautiful experience. At the Aboriginal Powwow event, you'll meet not only yourself, but other people who are on the same journey as you as well. And while you're at it, you'll also get to enjoy fantastic food, fun activities, and much more. This is a 3-day event where families will gather to enjoy quality time while also learning a lot of new things. At the powwow, the Aboriginal people, or so-called Black people, will get to know about the mind control placed on them while they learn about their true selves. Here we'll educate and show you the importance of having a separate and distinct nationality. Not just that, you'll see the administration acquiring reparations in real time without asking permission from anyone. Now let's talk about the Aboriginal University curriculum. It includes understanding basic civics and how it applies in real life, importance of one's status and operating in a tribal jurisdiction, understanding the protection of economics and being tax exempt for life, starting tribal townships everywhere and how we have one and more on the way. Apart from that, if you'd like to vent at this event to show off your skills, achievements, or products, we have a space for you too. We will also be outside connecting with nature and getting our hands dirty and doing outdoor activities for everyone. Along with that, we have other special activities like Aboriginal entertainment, so make sure you don't miss out. Learning new things and having fun aside, at Powwow, we're also offering different services including free bioscan, where we can scan your body non-invasively in 60 seconds and know what is going on in your body. Nationality services, where experts will give you relevant advice. Cosmology services, where professionals will help you understand your book and brighten your concepts. Not just that, we'll also be offering genealogy services that'll allow you to learn a lot about your ancestry and lineage. You can also enjoy health, legal, and many other services here. In short, there's something for everyone. If you plan to attend the powwow event and want to learn who you are and how you can protect yourself and your family, go to hawabdfw.org or hawab.org and get your tickets in just a few clicks. For a single entry, the ticket will cost $50 for singles, but if you come with a family, it's just $100. And lastly, if you're a vendor, the ticket will be $110. And yes, all these tickets come with food for 3 days. We're excited to see you at the Aboriginal Powwow event. Come powwow with the She.
All right. Peace, family. Peace. We add the God on. Peace, God. Peace. How we doing? How we doing?
Peace. What's going on? I'm doing good.
Excellent. Excellent. So we'll just kind of let everybody pile in. Peace, everybody. Peace, peace, peace. So as everybody's seen, as the title goes, we're going to be talking about the People's Political Party and just understanding the ARNA government official positions that are actually, open for nationals. So the whole goal behind it is, and I'll let Minister Bach tell a lot of the details, but we want to actually see nationals be more active in the government. And we think that this will just kind of paint a better picture of just like exactly what those positions are. And that way it would encourage y'all to actually run for those positions and get involved with your own government. So on that note, peace, 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 God. I'll let you share your screen, God. On that note, unless I missed something.
No, I think you're good.
Dope. Yeah, get this on IG going. Check connection. That's a bit. How's everybody doing today? Y'all doing all right? Y'all got any questions? Bring y'all's questions tonight. That's the whole point. So y'all can get some clarity. And again, you should be able to watch this video on replay anyway. So everybody's doing well. IG, if you want to see Minister Box slides, just go ahead and go to YouTube so you can see actually in depth what he's actually going to be covering today. So on that note, Minister Black, you got the floor, God.
Okay, cool. Peace, everybody. I'm Bach. I'm a jurist and a cosmologist in ARNA. So like Kojo was saying tonight, basically I was going to I was trying to think how to approach it, but I guess I'll just do like kind of a summary of ARNA's government structure and the different departments and branches, like the different positions available. And of course, this is all in light of our upcoming elections, coming up this fall. There's going to be a number of positions open, some that have been filled before, some that have never been, filled before. So hopefully, we can educate some more nationals to, kind of make themselves known and try to go out for these positions. I guess I would say like, this indigenous government stuff is, it's new for all of us, so we don't expect everybody to be, perfect or anything like that. But,
right.
The foundation is obviously, having good moral character and I would say being willing to, do the right thing, when necessary, having, the people's best interest in mind, and that'll carry you farther than you think, So I guess I'll get started. So on this first slide,
Hold on,
are they able to see it?
All right. They should be able to see it now, God.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here I have on the right, obviously ARNA's national flag, and on the left we have our transformation table with the Hamiyat Anam, or the 8 powers of creation. So anybody who's been in ARNA some amount of time, we have our 4 elements and our 4 conditions of creation, which is at the root of basically everything in our known universe. As far as being able to read nature and being able to type and characterize life, especially on our planet, obviously where we live. So I kind of just put these next to each other to show that amongst other things, whenever you're looking at our flag, you're looking at, these 8 powers as well. Just to start it off.
Yep.
So then building on that, we know that on our Aboriginal calendar, we use the 12 polarity system instead of the 12 zodiac system. And that goes further into just, typing human psychology and behavior. We have the 3 polarities that represent each manifestation of the 4 elements. So you can see those here. And then going further, those correlate to our 12 ministries and kind of just 12 areas of life in existence. So I think before I go into the Ministerial Congress, real quick, I'll just cover, I did kind of like a sort of a summary of important things in the Constitution, but what are your rights as
let me interrupt you real quick, guys.
Okay. Yes.
Why is it so important for nationals to really just understand what you just went over the first 2 slides?
Oh wow. I would say as far as with the polarity system and our cosmology system of reading it and how people fit into it, we can type, we can kind of guide people in their day-to-day life in all departments, but also kind of helping them orient themselves towards, what kind of career paths to take.
Bingo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Was that that's what you meant?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. 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 I mean, we can, essentially remove a lot of the stress, and even like we, at the foundation is stress, friction of people not really knowing where they fit in, not knowing what, like what path to commit to, that
Right.
kind of thing. So if we can, look at a person's birth chart and all their cards and our calendars and stuff, we can kind of tell them like, okay, you need to, you're stronger in this area versus some other ministry, So even like with this government conversation, there's people that might be better suited for it than others, and we can, kind of steer them in the right direction with that too.
Correct.
Yeah. So so real quick, in Unit 2 of the Constitution, you'll find your kind of a general outline of your rights as nationals, kind of similar to like, I guess you could say like the Bill of Rights in the U.S. Constitution, that kind of thing. But sovereignty, which is basically just being able to think, speak, and act, freely. Obviously, in ARNA, that means so long as it's not, causing injury to other people or violating natural law and our moral codes and that kind of thing. You have the right to form your own political parties. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later. The right to equality, as far as all nationals are viewed equal under the law. Men and women are considered equal under the law. The only inhibition on that is nationals who are nationals by like, foreigners, foreign Aboriginal people who might be nationals by marriage or privilege. That's the only time there might be a limitation on certain things. You have the freedom of worship, movement, opinion and expression, and association, the right to assemble, those kind of things. The right to privacy. And that includes like, in our Constitution, it says that our homes are supposed to be inviolable. So, obviously people have to have a search warrant and things like that in the whole criminal process to be able to enter people's homes, that kind of thing.
Right.
You have the right to pursue education and, all of our labor opportunities available. Self-defense, of course. You have the right to a trial by jury. And then I have also the right to private property and, free enterprise to, expand your business and those kind of things. And then it also lists in the Constitution there certain duties, of course, the nationals have. So all
What are some
nationals
of those duties? What are some of those duties?
So all nationals have to contribute to the defense and economic sovereignty of ARNA. So that includes everybody having to be trained for self-defense, those kind of things. Economically, constitutional dues, essentially if people aren't clear on it, if you're not paying dues, you're essentially not a national,
Wait. So if I don't pay dues, I'm not a national? Is that right?
Right, exactly. Exactly. You would have to petition our Jural Society to be reinstated as a national if you end up in that situation. So if people aren't participating and contributing to ARNA, essentially ARNA, doesn't exist. So, hopefully people coming in are understanding that, the nationals are the government. So if there are no nationals participating, it's, it becomes nothing.
Right.
And then also there's a clause there about if there's ever like, natural disasters or war and things like that that cause injury, all the nationals have to bear that cost as well, together. So that's another one. So then here it's kind of like, I kind of drew this real quick, but basically the overarching structure of ARNA's government at the national level At the center, again, as I mentioned, is the nationals themselves. And you have the executive branch, which is, if you ever hear the term chief executive being used, that is ARNA's chief, or prime minister, which is, it's now the same position. I'll kind of get into that later, but the chief executive is the prime minister, and his or her cabinet make up the chief executive. So basically the executive branch. And then there's we have provisions for a constitutional trust council to exist. I'll get into that. That will be made up of like former chiefs and chief ministers in that position. We have a parliament, which is our legislative branch, and that's made up of two houses. The Ministerial Congress, National Jural Society are the two houses. And then we have another court, which is the Aboriginal High Court. And then I'll go through each of their purposes. So the Ministerial Congress is one half of the Parliament. It's one of the two houses. So like I mentioned earlier, the 12 polarities, we have 12 governing councils that correspond to each of those 12 areas of life in ARNA, 12 councils. So they are the house of government that has like primary legislative responsibilities. So all of those ministers, they have the primary role of drafting law and like policy in each of those 12 areas. So an example, like the Minister of Health, they have like primary duties with, if we're coming up with like dietary laws, health rules on like how much you can weigh, or just any kind of stuff like that. That would be an example of that. So the actual house is made up of 9 of the ministries. I have all 12 of them listed here. The 3 that I haven't read, Defense and Intelligence, Economics and Engineering, and Law and Justice, those 3 are actually appointed by the chief executive, by the prime minister. And their functions actually serve the executive branch. The other 9 are primarily, legislative, like I mentioned. So they make up the actual 9 House members. They serve 4-year terms. So their next election is not going to be until 2026.
Correct.
So they'll be in another 2 years. And then one of those ministers who's elected will serve as the president of the Congress. And I put like the constitutional reference for most of their descriptions. Unit 1, Unit 4, 5, and 6 kind of cover most of the Parliament kind of stuff there. So the 9 members are elected and the other 3 are appointed.
And just so that everybody's clear, you can find that document, the Constitution, on arnagovernment.org. I posted it in the link just to reiterate that this is not hidden information. This is public. So,
right.
Yeah.
And Unit 1 covers like the general description of each ministry. So, people can get a good idea of what, all of these things mean. I mean, the titles are pretty, obvious, but you can kind of get the gist of what the areas of focus are. So then the other House of Parliament is our National Jural Society. And, the same constitutional units, cover most of their roles. Just like the Congress, the Jural Society consists of 9 members. One of those members serves as the president of the NJS. Right now, that's Minister Ansar and Minister Bolon in the Congress, Minister of Congress. So these members, their entire house is appointed by the prime minister or chief. So these are some of the 9 positions that are going to be available this fall up for election. So, we're looking for, you know, jurors to be interested in that. They serve a 4-year term also, so you can see their terms overlap with the Congress, you know, every 2 years. So one thing that's unique about the Juror Society, it's a member of Parliament. You know, it's one of the Parliament houses, so they have legislative duties, but they're also equally judicial, maybe even more so judicial in their role, because the NJS is also ARNA's Supreme Court. So they're the highest court that as we're forming like local jurisdictions and, you know, regional territories are being built up, the highest court you can appeal to is going to be the National Juror Society.
Yep.
With your cases and stuff like that. Or if you're in a place where there is no local jurisdiction, the National Juror Society would have priority to take those cases, or if it's an arbitration matter and stuff like that, it would primarily go through the NJS.
Right.
The only exception is cases against government officials, which I'll get to on the next slide. But all of the members have to be certified Aboriginal jurists to be on the Juror Society. So hopefully people are, you know, looking to take that certification, you know, in the coming months. Trying to think, is there anything else?
I mean, what's the importance of just having some type of experience or background in either of these houses? Like, is it required? Is it needed? Or like, could you explain that?
Legally right now, experience is not required, but it is. I mean, it basically is, right? Like it's not, but it is. Like, you know, it's you definitely want to have experience in some. Well, are you asking like
for example, like
oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like for example, like let's say you're running for Ministry of Arts and Culture. Like, what, you know, is it good to have experience there, or you can just come in fresh, not knowing? Like, as an example, or then another example would be you definitely need to have your certification to be part of the NJS, but how important is it to actually be utilizing what you've been learning in that course? So it's a two-part thing.
Yeah. Definitely better if you have some kind of experience, or, you know, some type of skill sets or previous, you know, work or something in those areas, because it'll be a lot. It'll make you a lot more efficient in your position, as far as like being able to basically just like get the ball rolling, you know, on you know, building up whatever projects and developments you're working on in your ministries, that kind of thing. Then obviously as a jurist, you definitely want to have experience utilizing what you have, like you were mentioning. Because I mean, if you don't, I would even say, like, just as far as like, if you have a habit of not utilizing what you're learning, it's gonna cause issues when you get into the position, because you're probably gonna have the same kind of bad habits, and it kind of hinders the productivity of the group, for sure. Yeah,
that was good. No, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, you're once you get into these government positions, people have to remember, like, we're serving our nationals. You know, like, they're dependent on us in a major way for a lot of things. So, you know, having that mindset of, you know, serving and being diligent about it is big. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the two Parliament houses. And then, so we said the Juror Society is a court. Our Aboriginal High Court of Justice is another court we have, which is unique because they specifically are assembled to hear cases against government officials, like I mentioned earlier. And then one other function, I don't know if they get it now, but as jurists, certain documents we'll use when it comes to like if a national is in trouble in the foreign venue, there's certain legal documents where that would essentially be sent from the Aboriginal High Court as like a judgment dealing with like, you know, if a national gets into, I don't know, maybe some kind of criminal thing they're being charged with. You know, as ARNA, we have to do our own investigation. And, you know, depending on our determination, let's say we find the person innocent in our court, you know, we can send that in as a judgment to the foreign venues court with along with other jurisdictional challenges and whatnot to, you know, suspend that, the action they have against you and those kind of things. So they have that function as well.
What's the importance of doing that? What's the importance of doing that though? Jurisdiction.
Oh, yeah. To show that you have a that you have jurisdiction. If not, the assumption is you know, subject citizen, you know, that whole thing, and
Bingo.
They, you know, they can treat you however they want to, basically. So yeah.
Bingo.
So the High Court, it consists of 8 members and a president. That's how those clauses are interpreted in Unit 10. They're elected from each of the 8 regions of ARNA. They also serve 4-year terms. So the High Court positions are up for election this fall as well. So so far the Jural Society up for appointment, High Court up for election. And again, all of them have to be certified jurists to serve in those seats as well. And in the absence of the High Court, because we haven't had one so far, if they're not available, basically the Jural Society hears all cases. So yeah, I guess it'll be good if we can get them in place for their, you know, their purposes this term. So those positions are available. Then from there we go to our executive branch, which is the chief executive, as I mentioned. So you can read about that in Unit 3, 7, and there was a decree, the last decree Ali did, number 6, that you'll find at the end of the Constitution, where he essentially kind of retired the position of chief, and the powers of chief now belong to the Prime Minister and the Constitutional Trust Council, which is on the next slide. But essentially the Prime Minister or the Premier and the chief are kind of one and the same at this time. So so the executive branch is made up of the Prime Minister, and he or she appoints their cabinet members. So some of the positions that can be filled, the National Protocol Minister, which is basically what it sounds like. They're tasked with organizing and distributing our protocol manual, which you can also find on, you know, our website, arnagovernment.org, which has a lot of specifics about different ARNA procedures, like our primary stuff that we deal with, banking, local jurisdiction kind of stuff, kind of just everything is in there. But there's that one. There's our secretarial minister or secretary of state, which is the executive's like record keeper and, you know, clerk, main clerk, those kind of things. We can have a minister for Department of Internal Operations. So I guess anybody's familiar with like operations management. Their main role is like our roles, and then that goes over into like the other branches, you know, helping the ministerial Congress organize their stuff, helping people figure out how to delineate tasks in the different departments and maybe staff members, all that, you know, all that kind of stuff. And coming up with like reports for each of the ministries as well, because all of that stuff helps our prime minister with their decision making, you know, keeping them aware and abreast of what's going on, those kind of things. And then I also have our three the other members of the ministerial congress, those three that I mentioned: defense, economics, and law and justice. Those three are also considered to be a part of the chief executive, because obviously ministry number one, or the minister of defense and intelligence, they're, you know, second in command to our military and kind of law enforcement, that kind of thing. So they're going to be executive. The Ministry of Economics is essentially ARNA's treasury. You know, they manage the money, the allocation of funds, record keeping of funds, all that kind of stuff. So they're executive as well. And then the Ministry of Law and Justice, that minister kind of oversees the structuring of our juror societies and dispute resolution stuff and like all of that. So they kind of have a role that helps the executive branch as well, controlling those kind of things. And I want to mention all of those positions are in our protocol manual. I think it's on page 10. It has like a description of kind of all of those positions that I just covered. So you can find those there. So I guess the role of the prime minister is they are our supreme representative of the nation and the unity thereof. So you know, Ali is our current prime minister. So you know, his duty is to kind of guarantee and protect the, you know, the sovereignty of the nation, the protection of our nationals. Yeah, like kind of just, you know, when you think about, if you think about the United States, what the president is, I guess, supposed to do, you know.
Right.
That's their job. And then their cabinet assists them with doing it. So the prime minister serves a 4-year term. That position and all the cabinet positions are up for election this fall as well. And, you know, they define, I put some other notes here, but, you know, they have to come up with a policy and agenda for the nation for their term. They can issue executive decrees, and that includes pardons, and, you know, if they have to declare state of emergency or war or any of those kind of things. They're first in line as commander in chief of our military, the Aboriginal Guard. They accredit foreign ambassadors to other countries. They receive foreign ambassadors from other countries. They're tasked with credentialing our jurists. So through ARNA Aboriginal Law Firm, the ARNA's chief, you know, signs off on that essentially. So yeah, all the executive functions, enforcing laws, judgments, all that, you know, all that stuff. That's the chief and chief executive, executive branch. So did you have anything on that? Or
I think the other thing that you kind of honed in on was that this office or this branch also administers the oaths to the jury, you know, to the ministers, you know, that gives them, you know, their actual position. So that's also important. So
and then kind of like another arm of the executive branch is our Constitutional Trust Council. So this is a really important body of people because it's made up of our former chiefs, prime ministers, house presidents, defense ministers, and potentially other former like government officials. So this is really important because, you know, as whoever the new person is who comes in each term in all these positions, it's new for them. So, you know, they're going to need whatever help, whatever wisdom they can get. So, you know, the experience of former leaders in our government they can be available to, provide counsel and, guidance and assistance to, the new chief, the new prime minister, which can help their, obviously decision making tremendously, having that kind of thing. Ali, Ali has already stated multiple times he's not running this year. So, he's going to be kind of retiring to this council, which is, really good. So he can help, whoever comes in, make sure the job is getting done. So I mentioned it earlier, but the powers of the Aboriginal chief they now belong to the Trust Council and are petitioned to the Prime Minister now. So the powers are kind of split between those bodies. So
now, I'm going to hit you with this because I know this is what everybody's thinking. Huh? What do you mean by that? Well, why is it done that
way? I mean, essentially, it's in case whoever gets into those offices, whoever gets into those seats is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Whoever's on the Trust Council still has the power to, remove that person. So, any funny business going on can get, nipped in the butt. Obviously, the people who have been around in ARNA, we've had that happen before, years ago. So, that was a good move by Ali to put that structure in place. So this thing can always be protected, and then next, this is just like a quick overview, but for people that I guess aren't aware, but ARNA's legislative process is pretty straightforward. We have 2 legislative sessions per year in April and September. I think it was a bill passed recently, right, that kind of shortened it to 1 month each, I think, or something like that.
That was just recently passed. So, sorry.
Yeah, and so bills can be proposed by any members of parliament and also the prime minister, and also, of course, nationals. If you have ideas for any bills or any laws you would like to see come into place, you can refer those to your parliament representatives and the executive branch directly, and they can, table those things at, the next legislative session coming up and all of that. The 2 houses of parliament, like I said, are legislative. So they're the ones who actually vote on our bills that are going to become law or not.
And you'll see how they're voting.
Right.
The new law that was just passed that makes it public. So
right. And then so as far as what bills take priority, bills that are required for like government functioning to continue always take priority, of course, and bills from the executive branch, the chief executive, also take priority. So the process is pretty simple. One house considers the bill, and then the other follows. Up to 2 readings per house are allowed as far as trying to come to an agreement on the wording of the bill and what it's about and whatnot. If both houses can't come to an agreement, then the chief executive then has the power to either refer it to a referendum, which basically means giving it to the nationals of ARNA to vote on directly on it to determine if it's going to get passed, or he can have a joint committee, which is basically, it's just comprised of the prime minister, the president of the Ministerial Congress, and the president of the Jural Society to try to come up on an amendment or a text, and then he can send that back to the houses. Ultimately, in order for a bill to actually get passed, it has to be by a majority vote from both houses, which, that's easy to understand. And then even at that point, the trust council and the prime minister still have to determine whether or not it's constitutional. And then once that's done, the bill can actually go into effect, be like ratified or whatever.
So you mean to tell me these officials just can't be passing things that are unconstitutional? Is that right?
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, there's checks and balances in ARNA,
There you go.
Yeah. And the idea is like everybody more or less should be, like on the same page about what ARNA needs. We have a specific, culture and moral principles and stuff. So ideally it shouldn't be too much back and forth about what kind of bills and stuff need to get passed, to improve our society. But yeah, it's pretty simple legislative process. And then some of the other kind of checks and balance concepts, unit 8 and 9 cover the relation between the branches. So in unit 8, it makes several provisions about I have a list here. The prime minister can require a second reading or consideration of bills in the houses. So if the prime minister feels like the houses are maybe the prime minister notices they're about to pass something that shouldn't get passed, he can require them to reconsider. Once they do that, he might still feel like they're missing something. So he can say, okay, like I mentioned earlier, let's refer this to the people because it ultimately affects them anyway. So
right.
Let's just put it directly in their hands to consider. For example, the prime minister can also dissolve either house or both houses if they have committed some kind of violations of our natural law or constitutional laws or moral principles. Like I keep mentioning, he can get rid of the house basically.
Why is that important that you keep referring back to the moral code? Where are you pulling that from? Where are you pulling that from?
Yeah, so the moral code is that's in our Constitution, towards the back, like unit 13, or not 13, but under, it comes after that. Our moral code, which is essentially, if people are familiar with the 42 laws of Ma'at, or 42 declarations of Ma'at from, I'll just say ancient Egypt, but those codes are our constitutional law. Yeah, there you go. And that is essentially, if you violate those are criminal violations in ARNA. So it's very important that we're all always striving to have the highest moral character and make that the theme of our society. That's what ARNA has done. So if you're violating those things, you can be, punished in whatever ways, the Georgia Society, determines. So, yeah. And so, yeah, so if people in the parliament are violating those things, they can be, removed. And then the PM may declare war, but he can only do it after getting majority vote from the parliament. So, there's another check where like whoever's the prime minister can't just be wilding out, making war on whoever and, all this kind of stuff. Like there's a checking mechanism. And then in unit 9, on the other side of the coin, the parliament can dissolve the chief executive by majority vote if, the executive branch is in violation. They can step in and, vote and determine if, the prime minister or whoever needs to be removed. They have the power to check on that as well. And in particular to, I mentioned earlier, the prime minister has to come up with an agenda for his term. If there's an issue with that, the Houses of Parliament, again, they can adopt warning or censure motions, which is basically a stop or a stopple on the prime minister's policies. And then they say, okay, this is not going to work for whatever reason. So we're going to vote to stop this, and then you can come up with another one and, you know, resubmit that. And then there's also there's a check within that where they can only do that like once a year, basically. So, you know, if they're, you know, you might have a situation where there's like a beef or something between the prime minister and the parliament or something, you know, could happen, and they're trying to like stall each other out from getting any work done or making any moves they want to make. You know, there's limits to the censoring between each other, you know,
Right.
Because we don't want to like stall out government functions unnecessarily.
Right.
So those are just some of the checks and balances in our government. So that's kind of all I have on the constitutional overview kind of stuff.
Okay. That was a good
then,
overview. What about, like, I know there's other responsibilities that national should be aware of. So what are some key things that national should be like key takeaways from this, from the first discussion that you pulled out?
I would say that, I guess overall, they need to be aware that, I think you had mentioned it earlier, and you mentioned it several times, but, you know, ARNA doesn't run unless we have people, you know, stepping up and participating and, you know, becoming active in, you know, this thing that, you know, they signed up for. You know, we need, you know, good, you know, people with good hearts, with the right mindset, you know, people, you know, have some, you know, some courage. Because it's, I mean, the work we're doing, you know, it's scary, it's dangerous, risky, whatever. You know, Ali can tell us all about that, you know, those of us that are aware, but it's worth it, you know. So I guess as far as responsibilities, like, it's our duties to step into these roles, you know, take charge of our post, and to also be mindful that you have the power to hold your government officials accountable to their posts as well. You know, you know, their job is to serve you. So be, you know, be active, be you know, communicate. And you know, like, you know, you have a voice in ARNA. You know, it's easy for us to not have a voice in the United States, you know, the various states. So, you know, we don't want that to become a thing in ARNA as well. You know, we want ARNA to be the fix for all of this stuff. You know, we want to do it the right way. So you know, make yourself known, make yourself heard, and you know, just stay, you know, righteous, be moral in your you know, your carrying out of these posts. I guess I would say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then I guess I could talk about the Indigenous Peoples Political Party, I guess, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so right now I'm on the Indigenous Political Authority website. That's indigenouspoliticalauthority.org. So this is a body politic that's basically for Indigenous people who really just all over the world, because not all Indigenous people will, qualify or even want to be in ARNA for various reasons.
Correct.
So even if you're not going to be in ARNA, you still need your nationality. You still need to be a part of some body politic that is in place to, you know, secure and protect and guarantee your rights as Indigenous people, because the law applies to you a lot differently than you may be aware of. You know, there's a lot of protections and things that will help us in our work to, you know, build ourselves back up, you know, self-administer reparations, as well as, you know, going to get reparations from people that have injured us. So the Indigenous Political Authority is here for that purpose. and our political party that we want to use for elections everywhere else other than ARNA is the indigenous. Here's that page, and the plan as far as U.S. elections is, essentially Republicans right now. Just people, go back and forth about all that stuff, but the position we're in now is basically like, I would use the term like picking the lesser of two evils, you might want to say. Right. And a lot of the policies of the Republican Party make more sense for indigenous people. A lot of them are aware of the history of this country and how, the distinction between the foreigners and indigenous people and stuff like that. So, and of course, the United States is supposed to have a Republican form of government, so, there's all kind of question marks around the purpose of democracy and all this stuff. But, a lot of the kind of the principal things that or principal objectives of the party are listed here. And a lot of these are things that people can take to their local officials, their state officials, and people, can step up and run for office in their states, their in the foreign venue, the U.S. You can run with these policies yourself, and kind of be able to build up, the indigenous, paradigm in the foreign venue, as well as what we're doing in ARNA. So I guess I should say that like ARNA nationals y'all should join, the IPA too, and this party, and get involved with all of that. But I'll cover some of the kind of main points of what we want. Building indigenous towns to implement our institutions. In the past we had our own cities and townships and all these kind of things, and we should be working on that again. Currently we have, I know Sun Village with Ansar is operating, and then I know Ali mentioned there's another brother in like Arizona.
Yep.
And I know Kojo is working on all kind of stuff with land too. So yeah, building up our own towns in the foreign venue is a benefit as well. Our own registration system for businesses. Our businesses get discriminated against in a lot of different ways. Those of us in ARNA, or even like just outside of ARNA, just as Black people, indigenous people, like we've all experienced that kind of stuff. So if we can make it clear that our businesses are distinct, and it says it in the next line, but being able to more easily access our tax exemption and those rights, right, all that kind of stuff, that would smooth out a lot.
Yeah, a whole lot. Because I know you nationals. I know I'll be watching. You'll be like, "Oh, do I use the tax exemption because they're gonna deny me?"
Yeah. So getting like legislation passed at the state level or federal level, just to cover that across the board is definitely something that we should be trying to get on the agenda with these politicians. And then, like I mentioned, people actually running for office, Republican candidates, putting up our own indigenous, party candidates. All of that, of course, will help get our agenda, on the forefront. And then education, of course, is always a big one. Being able to get our kind of our everything, all of our culture and history into these schools. Early, we have here like elementary, middle, high school, programs to educate the community on the indigenous paradigm and all those things is important. Real quick, I was going to say, like, I remember when I was in school, they had us learning a lot about like the Holocaust, for example. You know, for that group, like we had to do like school projects on it and everything. And but that the importance of that is, without even understanding why, you know, children, they're being reinforced to have a certain respect and empathy and all this kind of stuff for those groups of people.
Right.
And Black History Month comes around, and then it's like, okay, they show us like a 10-minute documentary on Martin Luther King, and that's it. And it's like, okay,
is that all Black history encompasses of?
Yeah, like it's very different. You know what I'm saying? So having the education about our true heritage and history and culture in the schools is very important for our people and everyone else, you know. So that's good. And then
and is the membership free, right? The membership is free, right?
Right. Membership is IPA membership, and the party membership is, well, excuse me,
no, just
party membership, yeah, is completely free. So definitely, anybody who sees this, like, get involved. These are things we can implement like now, So and then we have some stuff about like media companies to get the message out more, all that kind of stuff, because they're always trying to drown out these kind of voices. So making it where they can't do that is super important as well. And then the Average University, all the certifications we have and will continue to build in the future, franchising that, to make it all across the Americas and wherever else. We can kind of control and build up access to education for our people. So now that helps us compete, in the global economy better, because we have to compete, with all these other groups. So that's good. And then obviously our law firms, our Aboriginal law firms for jurists. Kojo can tell you, it's always suits coming up, always. You know what I'm saying? So that's another like labor opportunity, for members to build up our own law firms to handle these cases, because again, it's a lot of laws unique to us and the protections and stuff and treaties, whatnot. Having people competent to step in and combat when we get injured is like super important, of course. So so that's just some of like the ideal policies and things we want to have implemented in the foreign venue, going forward. And on this page, you can put your information in and, sign up, and then you're essentially a member. So there's that. And then
I think it's also important to note with Average University is that pretty soon, even though we're not asking for, I guess, an authoritative credentialing, but essentially we already have that in our venue, and eventually we can get to a point where people will start to acknowledge our university in that way that, it's not kind of just like, oh, this is not even a real university, even though we don't need it, but it's going to get to that point. And that's what the whole point of the IPPP is for, is that people are pushing our agenda in these different areas to make it a reality. So
so I think that's all I kind of had. I don't know if you wanted me to go over, because I know I have my party that I made in ARNA. I don't know if that's something we could cover, or if we need to.
We can go over it. That's the go over it. Let's go over it. Let's do it.
Okay, I'll go to my website. So so far I formed a political party. I guess at this point it's just a website for now, but .org. ARNA's previous history with elections. Of course, we haven't always had a lot of participation from nationals, and then it's not always the best people available for candidacy and whatnot. So I kind of just made it to kind of try to encourage people to, like all the stuff we mentioned earlier, just kind of, kind of step up and kind of go for these positions. So I have outlined kind of just some ideal policies from my time on the National Juror Society, just some stuff I saw and experienced, and being in ARNA as long as I've been in, almost, I guess, like 8 years now or something. I've been around a while, so I've seen a lot. I've seen Ali deal with a lot, so just some different areas that I think ARNA could be improved in, some economic stuff. People can just, explore the website if they are interested in these kind of things. But there's kind of 4 general areas of law as far as like whoever the premier is when they're coming up with their agenda. We kind of categorize 4 areas: economic stuff, social, cultural, and then like foreign affairs generally. And then some of these policies I kind of have it categorized by ministries underneath each of those 4 areas. So it's a lot of different, stuff here, kind of where money should be ideally moved, or, what it should be used for, land, technology, agricultural development.
What's going on my internet?
Always thinking about knuckleheads, I'll say, becoming jurors, so we can, implement ways to like, put controls on that kind of stuff. Those are maybe some policies or, laws that could be developed. The healthcare stuff with average through the AMA is, always developing. So that should be continued. Even some maybe, the Ministry of Health could maybe institute certain things with obesity. I don't know, stuff like that. Maybe those are laws that could be thought about. Security, whatever our policies to be developed are going to be. Criminal law, penal code. I know Kojo has been working on that kind of stuff. I have too previously. So those kind of things, maybe we can actually get organized enough to like implement that kind of stuff in the coming terms. What's some other stuff? Rites of passage, which is like foundational to art, right? So I know Ali and the sisters have been working on stuff for the DOS and the SOS too. So hopefully that, can start being implemented as far as like initiations into the, whatever we're doing, and, just to produce, better quality nationals. Because that's foundational to trust and loyalty built between each other, and, men and women actually coming together, which is, super important. I have here, I think, marriage should be like a legal requirement. Technically, it already is, or at the very least,
Courting
contracts or whatever, So, obviously, the alphabet people and race mixing and stuff is outlawed in ARNA. So this party will, always continue to promote that, of course, in ARNA. And then foreign affairs stuff.
That's important.
Yeah. Ways that we can kind of, I have here like countering foreign invasion. The people that was around, we've had issues with certain foreign people. doing stuff, you know what I'm saying? So we can
clean that up.
Yeah, clean that stuff up. That'll be good. Obviously, business wise, we have to interface with other people, you know. But I've heard Ali say like you want to be able to establish a perimeter and then set another outer perimeter where outsiders can, you know, intervene or not intervene, but you can interface with them, you know, create a safe mechanisms to do that. So that'll be good, you know, and you know, just like expanding our like knowledge of our businesses, because a lot of our certifications are really unique and very valuable to like everybody. So making people more aware that that's, you know, stronger economic base for us, you know, building more wealth. So and then yeah, that's kind of just the general idea. But I guess if people are interested in maybe running with this like party that I made, they can there's like a contact link here, but I have like all those oops, hold up. Okay. I have like all of those positions. I have my you know, I think a better candidate or, you know, somebody for that position, because that's obviously the like the focal point of ARNA. But if I don't find nobody, you know, I'm definitely strongly considering going ahead and running. But you know, protocols, all of those positions for the chief executive are there. The Jural Society positions and the High Court are all listed there as well. So, you know, if people are interested in running, you know, just contact us. I'm gonna have a list of who not to vote for if necessary. You know, just in case. But yeah. I mean, you know, hey, stuff happens. You know,
I'm sorry.
So
let me hold my composure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, you know, that's basically it for that. And ARNA, you know, ARNA is not supposed to have a one party system. So if anybody else wants to form parties, you know, lawfully, they can, you know, they could do so. So yeah, that's kind of it for that.
And you know,
yeah.
why is it so important that people kind of understand like who's actually running and why they should want to like be interested in who's running?
I mean, definitely we want the absolute best people available for the positions. We definitely don't want the wrong people running for the positions. I mean, just, you know, being informed about who's, you know, going to be able to get into offices that directly influence everything about our lives. You know, these people have a lot of power in their seats, so they can determine our affairs in a lot of major ways. So I think that's kind of very important. Is that kind of
Yep.
Yep.
I want to reiterate the importance of not just sitting idle and wanting to just be a passive national, like you're just chilling. Like you want to be informed, you want to be involved of what's actually taking place in your government. So
yeah, because I mean, we've seen over the years what happens when people don't do that. You know, stuff can potentially go haywire, you know, and then that hurts not just you, but it's like it hurts ARNA's, you know, image and brand as a whole. You know, that kind of hinders the work completely, because then people start looking at ARNA like, oh, this is just like any of these other groups that, you know, just let people run amok and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
bingo.
Accountability, super important.
Bingo.
But yeah, I think that's kind of all I had.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna open up the floor to people who want to come in and ask questions. And if we don't have anybody that wants to ask questions because maybe they're a little nervous or they're like, I just don't understand, that's okay too. We'll talk about this again. And right, Minister Bob? We'll talk about this again. All right. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know. We'll talk about this again. And so just to make sure that everybody really understands. But if you have a question or if there's something that kind of sparked a thought in your mind that you want to come to the floor and ask, come on live and ask the question to Mr. Bob, please do so. Otherwise, we will close out class for today. But I think I really wanted to make sure that everybody just really understands what you just laid down is that we have all these systems in place. We have these institutions in place. They won't grow. They won't grow unless we have the right people building on top of them. And they will literally just stay stagnant or they'll just basically go backwards. So it's very important that nationals understand that, like, I know you're like, oh, how come ARNA's not like functioning like the US? We're still a baby nation, a baby government that's still making really big strides. And it just requires a lot of participation and a lot of help from everybody on their end, and just being active as nationals. So get your dues paid. I know y'all keep asking that question. I won't answer that question no more. There's a video for it. So hopefully this presentation and just class that Minister Bach put together sparked some inspiration and curiosity to want to actually be involved and actually do something within your own government. And that's the whole thing. It can't be 1% of people doing 100% of the work.
Right.
So, anything you want to add to that, God?
No, I think you covered it. It's I guess what's some stuff I can say. I think that looking at everything happening in the world, I think our people can get discouraged. They kind of lose willpower and stuff, but according to all the signs, this is the time for us to rise and do for self. So be confident. You could look at Ali's, you can look at the life of our chief. He's been through all kind of stuff, but he's still excelling and growing with his family and business and everything, despite all the odds. So, I would just say, I know me personally, that's a lot of inspiration. Like, we can win, despite what's happening. So, and, we learned in our cosmology system, we have a star now that was predicted to be here as a sign of our, resurrection as a people, and it's here now. That defies all laws of physics and everything else. So, it's our time now. So, we need people, stepping up. I think it'll happen, but we just have to keep like showing them the way, But yeah.
That's it. Well, I think that's right. Like, spot on. Like, what's your excuse? Like, if despite what our chief is doing and he has gone through, he's still creating and still progressing. So I know the shell can be heavy, but it doesn't matter. You just got to keep pushing forward and you'll win. So, I guess y'all quiet tonight, huh? Y'all too scared to come up and ask some questions to the minister. We'll give y'all a couple more minutes, and then if not, we'll close out class tonight. But I think y'all should really pay attention to this video. It's really just awareness. Like nationals have a lot of power. Like one thing I want to make sure y'all are even aware. I know y'all like, oh, coach, I don't even. Y'all know our website, right? Y'all know there's a referendum for nationals to fill out, right? For consideration for new laws. Are y'all aware? Like, if you go here, arnagovernment.org, you click on this tab right here, referendums for nationals. You fill out this form for consideration for new laws. So if you think there are some new laws that you think that we need to consider and implement, you should fill this out. And you have to be a current national, meaning you are caught up on dues. Don't be filling it out if you're not caught up on dues. But that's what Minister Bach is saying, that the center of it is the nationals. Without the nationals or the people, there is no nation. So we can't serve people who are not even there, right? And we can't even be doing the work that we need to do for you guys. So that's why I mean, like, the power is in y'all's hands. You just got to do something about it. Nobody's gatekeeping here. It's literally out and open. So anyway, no questions, y'all. Y'all must understand government. That's cool. That's cool too if y'all do. I'm not even gonna knock y'all. But if there's no questions, we appreciate y'all's attention for class tonight. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. And again, you'll be able to watch this again on replay. The idea is just to give you a level of awareness, understanding of our government, the positions, and just what actually all of this means in detail. So again, feel free to hold on, what's your website? Hold on, somebody just threw up. Thank you. Somebody who ain't too scared. What's the best way for us to keep contact as a community since we're spread across the country? You want to hit that guy?
Yeah, probably the main thing for everybody is our Facebook group. If you don't have the link to that, I guess we could probably post it here somewhere or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
But yeah, we have a page for all of our nationals. Yeah. We have a page for everybody to pretty much all our nationals are in there. There's a lot of people who aren't nationals right now who might get filtered out or whatever, but it's probably the main place for everyone to meet. And then as we have like local jurisdictions opening up, you'll see links for all that stuff. The Hawaii, our region, Region 6, has a website and this YouTube page that you're watching on as well. Yeah, the Facebook group is probably the main one, I would say right now. Yeah, that's probably the main thing.
Give me 1 second. Share this group. Yeah, I think that's like basically to reiterate what Mr. Box said is that the Facebook group page you should be plugged into, and then the other thing is you need to make sure that you're getting the emails from headquarters, right? So you can stay informed of what's going on. Like again, we're going for the summit in July. We're going to Tulum, right? So you should have seen an email that came through on that. And so that's like the second primary way to stay plugged in. But also, whenever Aboriginal Global Media goes live, that's another way to tap into, just to see everybody who's, chiming in the chat. And then obviously, the best ways is just to come to these events that we do. So the summit, this is a way that you see all the nationals who are in the different parts of the region or country. And as well as, the powwow and the rites of passage for the Daughter of the Shrine, which is getting ready to come up in March. Sister Lazakia has one in OKC in March as well. So, I mean, there's different things that can get you stay plugged in to the community and just the government in general. Like Ms. Block said, we have the WA page, we have the YouTube page. So those things. So just to drive those points home. And I'm going to post the chat for the government website. Or not the government website, but the YouTube page. Not YouTube. Facebook. Jesus. Right. Here it is. Facebook. Right here. So another question that popped up. Do we have a Telegram or should we use WhatsApp? I haven't seen a official Telegram or WhatsApp for the whole group. I think that would be kind of a breach anyway, just because we don't want weird stuff happening with people's information and stuff like that. So as of right now, no. But in the different houses or institutions that we have, for whether it's NJS or Minister of Congress, they have their own groups. But as far as like a collective, no. Unless you know something I don't know, Minister Bob. Okay, let me see. And then, please, family, where can I get the link? I do not have that. It's in the chat. I just posted it in the chat, family. So you can see it on the screen. Minister Yogi should, once we cleared you to make sure that you're a national in good standing, you should be able to get access to that. So we should be able to get you cleared if you're in good standing. So hopefully that answers that question. Bingo. So he confirmed. The God confirmed. Chief of Cosmology confirmed. No doubt, no doubt. Oh, well, the questions I got. You know, y'all too scared to come up? I'm gonna post the chat one more time. I'll give y'all 2 minutes. Y'all have literally no questions. I know this is a lot, and I know some of y'all. I know this is what's going on here. Huh? So, you sure you don't have any questions? Because we're just trying to keep this open and allow everybody to just get their questions. No questions? What? You know, if there's no questions, right? We appreciate y'all's attention tonight. Hope y'all got something out of this, and we're gonna wrap it up with tonight for class. So, anything to end on that, Minister Bob? Oh, you good? Nice.
No, you good.
Peace, family.